In 2022, my mother died in India from kidney disease. I couldn't go to her funeral. I was in America already sick with the same disease. In 2023 to 2024, big tech has laid off around 400,000 people and the layoffs still continue. I watched it happen while my kidneys were failing, too sick to interview and always worrying I would be next. In 2025, I had a kidney transplant, and during recovery while I was on short-term disability, I got my enrolled agent license. Because I learned from my mom, life is short, job security is an illusion, and you can't wait for the next crisis to build a backup plan. This is what I learned when you have your mom's disease during the biggest tech layoffs in history. My parents never moved to United States. They stayed in India their whole lives, but they wanted their kids to have an opportunity that they didn't have: better education, better career, better life. When I got into a top CS university and came to US for engineering school, they were very proud, especially my mom. She would tell everyone that I'm studying in the US, I'm going to be an engineer and going to work for a decent company. And I did. I graduated, started working as a software engineer. It wasn't in big tech right away. I worked for a couple of smaller companies outside Bay Area, but somehow those companies were always headquartered in the Bay Area. Eventually, at a pretty late age, I moved to Silicon Valley and got a big tech job. It was a good job, good salary, and stable career, and I loved technology. I wasn't climbing to the executive levels or anything like that. I was an engineer, a decent one, making good money. But to my mom, I think that was everything. That her kids are working, have a stable life, working at a decent company in Silicon Valley, making more money than she could have imagined. Every time we talked, I'll tell her about work, and I could hear the pride in her voice. You made it, she'd say. You're doing well. But she never came to US. She wanted to see my house, meet my family, see the life I built. But in 2014, she ended up needing a kidney transplant. After that, she was afraid of infections and traveling was too risky, so she always stayed in India. So she only knew my life through phone calls, through the photos I'd send, through the stories I'd tell. She never saw it. She just believed it was good. And in 2022, right after COVID, she passed away. I couldn't go to her funeral because by then my kidneys had also started failing, and it was the same disease that her mom had. But I knew I was sick and I was afraid of infections, just like she was. So she passed away in India and I stayed here in the US. The same fear that kept her from coming to see me, infections, compromised immune systems, the same fear kept me from going to say goodbye. I couldn't even be there. After she died, I kept working. What else do? You grieve, you try to process, but you just keep going. Because that's what she would have wanted. At least that's what you tell yourself. And then 2023 happened. Tech layoffs everywhere. Google, Meta, Amazon, thousands of people, tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands being laid off. And I'm sitting at my desk getting sicker every month, watching my LinkedIn feed fill up with layoff posts. Laid off today after 15 years, they say. My whole team was cut. If you know any openings, postings of those sort. And I'm thinking, what if I'm next? And here's what made it absolutely terrifying. I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't interview, not well. I was exhausted all the time, brain fog and fatigue. I couldn't take a coding challenge, not a multi-hour one. I couldn't fly for an on-site if that was needed, too risky with my immune system. I couldn't even think about switching jobs because I needed this health insurance. I was going to need a transplant. So I was trapped, watching people get laid off left and right, watching people who were healthy scramble to find new jobs, and knowing if my number does come up, I'm done. My mom had just passed away. I couldn't go to her funeral because I was already sick with what that killed her. Now I'm watching my industry collapse while I'm too sick to do anything about it. Now I have the same genetic disease as my mom, the same progressive failure, the same outcome if I didn't get a transplant. And by this time, I was already on dialysis. I've been sick for years, but it had been killing me slowly, just like it killed her. And now, in the middle of the biggest tech layoffs in the history, I was facing the same fight that took her life. The success she wanted for me, it didn't protect me from anything. It didn't save her, it didn't save me, it didn't even let me say goodbye. And that's when I started questioning everything. 2023 to 2025 were the hardest years of my life. I was working still at big tech, still performing and still showing up. But the kidneys were failing and I was already on dialysis and I was on a transplant list. And the layoffs kept happening. And I kept thinking about my mom. She spent her whole life in India, raised me, sacrificed so I could go to the US, wanted me to have more than she had. And what did I do with more? I worked 40 to 50 hours, tried to chase promotions in my limited capacity, competed for raises, stressed about prof reviews. I made decent money, I had everything she wanted for me, but I was barely present for my family or myself. I was stressed constantly, my health was deteriorating, probably from stress long before the kidney disease symptoms showed up, and I was living in one of the most expensive places in the US, making good money and still feeling like I don't have enough. And the whole time I told myself, this is what she wanted, this is why she sacrificed. But watching layoffs happen while I was too sick to do anything about it forced me to see the truth. She didn't want me to be rich. She didn't want me to have a fancy title. She wanted me to have a better life than she'd had. And what kind of life was I living? Working for a company that could replace me in a week? Chasing a career that could disappear while I was too sick to defend it? So busy making her proud that I was making the same mistake she made, sacrificing present for future, sacrificing health for work, sacrificing what matters for what pays. My mom got 8 years after the transplant. She spent some of them proud of me, proud of what I have achieved. But if I could ask her now, if I could have one more conversation, I don't think she'd want me working to death. I think she wanted me to be there for my kids the way she was there for me. I think she'd want me to have time, have health, and have options. I think she wanted me to actually live. Finally, in 2025, I got my kidney transplant. The same surgery that my mom had around 11 years back, the same immunosuppressants, the same uncertain future. But I was feeling better and I was more resolved than ever. I went on short-term disability. 3 months couldn't work, but I was getting some percentage of my salary. And the layoffs were still happening. People were getting cut and I was lying there in recovery, thinking, what if I come back and there is no job? What if they restructure while I'm out? So I made a decision. I wasn't going to waste this time. My mom spent her recovery resting, hoping things would go back to normal, staying dependent, staying vulnerable. I spent my time building some sort of a backup plan. So while I was on short-term disability and I was recovering from major surgery on immunosuppressants, trying to figure out if this transplant would even work, I studied for the enrolled agent exam. There are three parts of this exam. It's essentially the IRS tax law, representation, and ethics. I passed all three. I got licensed as an enrolled agent during my medical leave because I needed something which was mine and I could fall back on. Something no company can take away, something that the economy always needs, and something that I can build a business for long term if I'm laid off. Something that I didn't have to worry about layoffs, about restructuring. No, we are going in a different direction, nothing of that sort. It was an year license and it was mine. Tax work is seasonal and flexible. I can potentially build a client base slowly if I wanted to, on my own terms. If I lost my big tech job by choice or by layoff, I have an immediate income. I learned from watching my mom. She couldn't work much after her transplant. She was dependent, vulnerable, and it limited her options for the rest of her life. I refuse to repeat that. Recovery time isn't wasted time. It's a clarity time. When you're forced to stop, when you can't work, when you can't hustle, when you can't do the thing that has been defining you, that's when you figure out what actually matters. And what mattered to me was never being this vulnerable again. So I used those 3 months to build something that can't be taken away. And by the time I went back to big tech, I had options. I'm still here because I love tech, I love technology for now. And it's been few months since transplant. I'm recovered fully, I'm working, but I'm not trapped anymore. I have the AA license. I have some path out. It might not pay as much as my tech job, but I have a fallback mechanism. My mom got 8 years after her transplant. She spent them grateful but dependent, hoping nothing else would go wrong. I'm not doing that. I got this second chance and I'm building something different. Not going back to the same dependency, the same vulnerability, the same mistakes. If you're watching this and you relate, if you're an immigrant kid carrying your parents' expectation and sacrifice, or if you're just in tech watching layoffs and wondering if you're next, or if you've lost a parent and you're trying to honor their memory, I need you to hear this. You don't need to honor your parents by destroying yourself. My mom wanted me to succeed, but more than that, she wanted me to live, to be okay, to be secure. And somewhere along the way, I confused success with making the most money or having the best title. That's not what she wanted. She wanted me to have a better life than she had. So ask yourself, are you building a better life or just a more impressive resume? Are you living or are you just succeeding? Are you actually secure or just well paid and vulnerable? I had my mom's disease during the biggest tech layoffs in history. I couldn't attend her funeral because I was already sick. I watched hundreds of thousands of people lose their jobs while I was sick to do anything about it. And I'm not making those same mistakes anymore, or at least I hope I don't. I am trying to build multiple income streams so I'm never dependent on one company's decision. I am trying to prioritize time with my family over promotions. I'm trying to take care of my health instead of working until I break. I'm defining success on my own terms. And I think and I hope that's what she would have wanted. Not the title, not the salary, not the prestige, but a life that's actually worth living. She got 8 years after her transplant. She couldn't see my life. I couldn't say goodbye to her, but I can make sure those years I have count. Thanks for watching this, and if this resonated with you, please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be posting about tech careers, personal finance, resiliency, and building life on your own terms. And I'm going to share the mistakes I made along the way so you guys don't make the same mistakes. And if you lost a parent, or if you're dealing with health issues, if you're watching your industry collapse and feeling trapped, drop a comment. I want to hear your story. Thank you.